ready to rumble!
Good evening. How are you, Mr. Dan?
I'm doing pretty good tonight here, Melissa. Had an easier day today than I've had in a very long time with work. So kind of nice. Was done about 4 o'clock instead of 6:30 like I normally am.
Okay. Well, tonight I wanted to discuss with everybody how to start booking shows because I saw you had a pop up come up,
I did.
little short notice show.
That is what I'm calling it, simply because it was kind of short notice. A couple of local base heads and I were discussing late season shows, if you will, and we couldn't really get anything on before finals. But we were discussing something right away after it, and he finally got back to me here on literally like Monday afternoon, and I've got one scheduled coming up here for this Saturday. So it's kind of nice to have a short notice show if you're able to do them. If city council says yes, and you got a spot, and everything else happens, and all the ducks get in a row, it's kind of nice to have that availability.
Absolutely, it is. All right. That brings us to tonight's topic
Hey, Shane.
how to book a show. It's as simple as call your judge. Hey, this is what I got in mind.
Very true.
Messages. It's really, really simple. And if you don't think you have a judge in your area, message Billy. He can either get a judge that'll come to your area for you, or he can find you a judge. It's very simple. And you're absolutely right. The hardest thing is finding these locations. Therefore, without people helping us, we don't know where to
Mhm.
go. We got to
Exactly.
have
And
some help out here.
speaking of the locations, how do we find a location? Well, that's like Marcus said, that is the hardest thing to do because if I don't know the area, and Marcus, I'm going to pick on you for a minute because you've helped me get a couple of shows down in the west of Omaha area. If I don't know that specific location, I don't necessarily know that there needs to be or that people want a show there. So reaching out to your judge, like Melissa just said, first and foremost, that should be the first thing that you do. Find out, hey, I'm looking to have a show in April or May or, next weekend. Are you available? Melissa, are you available next weekend? That should be
Mhm.
basically, hey, I'm Marcus. I want to have a show next weekend. Are you available? And if it's yes, that's great. If it's no, I've got something else planned. Well, hey, how about the weekend after that? Have a backup date.
Mhm.
And
Definitely.
when you're talking about a date for them, keep in mind some weekends are going to be busier than others. If you've got a 3-day holiday weekend and the 2 or 3 that always seem to come up, well, Easter's always on a Sunday, Memorial Day and Labor Day are always on Mondays. So if you're planning a holiday weekend event, keep that in mind. You may or may not get more people. You may get less people. You may get people that just want to show up. And the location for them is key. Yeah, racetracks are good. People are
They're
used to
expensive.
noise, but they can be expensive.
Yes.
If it's let's say a city park area like mine will be on Saturday, probably not too expensive as long as you've got your sound permits ready to go from the city or
Mhm.
from the people that own the area where you would like to have it if they're a family friend or something. But that brings into other questions of along with that location, is it feasible to have a show there? Do you have permission to have the show there from the landowner or from City Hall? Have you
And
spoken
let's
on?
bring this up right off the bat. Your judge cannot go get an amplified noise permit for you.
Very
We
true.
just can't do it. The city won't allow it. It's got to be the owner of the property.
Yep.
I skirt this a lot by going to the county. I don't like being in the city. It's too much work. Let's go to the county,
Very
abide
true.
by whatever their noise permits are. Usually here it's 9, 10 o'clock. Shut it down.
If I have to go to a meeting with you, I can probably do that, or I can at least
Oh,
send you
yeah.
some information on what to say about us. But I can't get a permit if it's not going to be specifically here in Sioux Falls or technically, I suppose, T, since that's where my little shop is, 6 miles south of town. I could probably finagle something in a couple other towns because I know some people in City Hall, but overall, I cannot get you the location or, more importantly, sometimes the permit for that location. And they look um how do I want to say this? They don't necessarily look properly if I'm the one showing up talking about everything and they're kind of looking at you as the landowner or something else without a little bit of an introduction. It's nice to be able to tell everybody, hey, we're a small group of like-minded individuals. We'd rather do this here on Saturday or Sunday, late morning start with a mid-afternoon finish, rather than do it on, Thursday night at the corner of Main Street and Third Avenue or something right in front of Target or Walmart or Home Depot or whatever. But, you know, at least the police will know where you're at as well. So they should be able to expect it. And yeah, if you've got to pay something, most cities for organization fees, 30, 40, $50 maybe. If it's more than that, city's got an issue, unfortunately, in my mind. I can't see paying more than $50 for a permit. That's a little unreasonable in my mind.
All right. So where are your favorite locations to go? I
Mine
like
is
going to like Little League ballparks. Those
Yep.
are my favorite.
If your town if you are fortunate enough to be in the county seat or the biggest town in your county and they have a fairgrounds there, I love a fairgrounds area because 9 times out of 10, nothing else is happening there on the weekend. And fortunately or unfortunately, that's both good and bad. More publicity every once in a while if another automotive show is happening there. But at the same time, it's kind of nice not to have 300 people walking around asking the same question every 5 minutes because they weren't paying attention because they were being blasted out by Marcus or David or someone else here in our chat tonight. So I like fairgrounds for the most part. They're always nice. And that's not to say that some of the private businesses that have had and hosted my shows weren't, but fairgrounds, power is generally readily available. I can generally get on some Wi-Fi or a wired network if I need to for anything. A lot of people know exactly where the fairgrounds are, so I don't have to do anything in that regard with it other than say, hey, we're at this place, or the Eagle Racetrack. People know where that one's at, right outside of Omaha, about 15 miles southwest of town. You tell them it's in Eagle and it's at the racetrack, they're going to know where you're at.
Okay. Good evening,
Will?
sir. How are you?
Good evening,
Roll
Will.
Tide. I see that. That
Yeah,
is
if
my
you've
cue to
got
get out of town for the
if
Roll
you've got
Tide.
facilities, hook us up because we had I was
All
going to
right.
say, I think last time Marcus down there were probably 70, 75 people there for it. So a decent turnout for everything that way. If you got facilities and people know them, if you've got, food trucks, if you've got bathrooms, it's easy to get to. It's kind of the thing I rail against most is, I rule against McDonald's all the time, but their business plan is location, location, location. And aside from us being louder than most, if you got a great location, that definitely helps. That bodes well for everybody. Donnie,
Another thing,
Triple D.
Base Wars likes their shows scheduled 3 to 6 months in advance. That way we have time to promote for them. Billy works really, really hard on videos, graphics, everything we need to be able to do this. Just give us some time, get your show in. It's really not that hard. All you got to do is call somebody. We got judges in almost every area now.
Pretty
Except
much.
up there where, in the Oregon area. I think we're missing a couple up there.
We don't have anything there yet that I know of, and probably maybe South Florida, I think, might be the other area that we don't
Right.
really have anything in, but we can cover the panhandle.
Well, Billy is happy to head himself down into Florida. He likes it.
Billy loves that area. I know that up here, I do North and South Dakota, Minnesota. Jimmy, just south of me, he does Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, and Nebraska. So he does 4 states. We cover some big area up here. And yeah, about that pop-up in less than a week. Yeah, we were talking about that finals, a little bit. And it finally came around to we finally got the right spot. Unfortunately, it's the same weekend as something else, but you know, for those of us that don't go to that place, hey, we'll have our thing there in Yankton and we'll have fun.
I have been driving home from a show and go, you know what? I'm going to stop at this other show and just set up. That's a pop up. Man, Billy was like, hey,
Hmm.
we're leaving North Carolina. No, it was Virginia we were leaving. How about we just go to South Carolina and do a show there tomorrow? Okay. So, yeah, expect pop ups out of us because all of these
Definitely.
judges like to go out on the weekends and help. We're all here to help.
Nebraska is, I mentioned them twice, Marcus, because they're louder than Missouri. So, you know, and yeah, I actually have snow kind of forecast for Saturday up here, Melissa. You're welcome to come up here.
No, I can't drive up there. Sorry, man. Good
Liar.
evening, Mr. Bones. How are you tonight? Nope. I can't even drive if I think it might snow. When I did
Now
turn
I
down
actually
for
have to
what,
look.
on the way back, it started doing the sleeting and snowing on us. And I had to hand my truck keys over to Billy. It was like, hey, man, I don't know how to drive in this. You got to help.
Saturday right now for me. Oh, we're gonna have something. The low is going to be 23 degrees. That's still above zero, but water will be freezing. High temperature of 34 degrees and a 73% chance of precipitation. Chances are I will be wearing shorts at the show. It will be cold.
Chances are the show I'm going to have Saturday, I'll be able to wear shorts too. Because I will be in East Point, Georgia for the Spooky Lake show. Good weather,
Nice.
always down here. And we get to do an evening show. I'm going to break out my laser lights for this. I can't wait. I bought a whole setup of lights just for this. And I get to break them out maybe twice a year. So I'm so
Cool.
excited. Y'all have no idea. I love some lights.
Get a little disco ball going in there and hang that
Oh,
from the
yeah.
center of the tarp or the center of the canopy.
Oh, it's going to look like a rave up in there. And that's the way I like it.
I have had, let's see, when I was doing other things, other shows, there were, I think I had 3 shows one year where I saw 2 of them for sure were snow. And another one was I don't know if it would be called sleet or whatever it was, but it was white and it wasn't necessarily floating down. It was more so hitting the car. So I don't know if it would be like little bits of hail because it was really windy. But Donnie Dumpman, who was in here earlier, and Eric, they know exactly what we deal with all year up here, and that's either it's 85 and 95% humidity where it's hot and nothing's loud, or it's freezing cold. We don't get a lot of, you know, 70 with 50% humidity days up here. We get one or the other most of the time. So dealing with the
I don't
snow is
know. We get all 4 seasons in one
man,
day. All
we
right.
we can do that
Good
in about
evening, Mr.
3 hours.
Joey. For anybody that hasn't seen what Joey built for his son, y'all need to go look at that because he did an incredibly beautiful build for his kiddo. Quite
Andrew,
interesting. It's a
that
nice green color.
Andrew's got a great idea there for the best
Good evening.
snowmobile base ride. I'd put that in our Iron Horse category still.
Hmm.
And right alongside with your side by side or your snowcat, maybe not the one Jeremy Renner had, but you know, another snowcat. And yeah, I would be more than happy to hook you up there, Andrew. We can do that. You find me a show location outside St. Cloud somewhere, and we'll do that.
Really? We're out here doing snowmobiles now.
We'll get
Okay.
you can
That's gonna be an excellent show.
If honestly, I'm fairly certain that we would find some people that would do it. Not really a lot of room in the windshield area of those for anything, but they would be interesting to hook up something on. I'd rather do a Harley or some type of like a Goldwing or something for a big bagger style system, but I'd take my chances with a snowmobile. It'd be kind of interesting. There you go. Side by side
That's
go
gonna be
kart.
cool.
Yeah, we'll take those at a show, especially if it's, I don't want to say right next door to a campground, but a lot of people bring their little go-karts and bikes and side by sides to campgrounds, which kind of brings up another thing about show locations. Do you have ample parking at your show locations? If you've got a shop that is hosting your show, they might not have a lot of parking available because they're in a strip mall or a retail mall environment. And they may only technically have room for 5 or 6 people there, but the parking lot is big. So you kind of got to keep an eye on parking and how fast is the line moving and kind of pick your spots to get in there once in a while. Hey,
Thank you for coming by, sir.
thanks for coming by, Andrew. And yeah, the Dave, that first show that we did there it was cold. I was literally sick for 2 weeks after that. I stayed at my mom's place for like 3 days in a row, and both of us were feeling like dog crap for a while. It was really cold that particular day. It was 20 degrees, maybe 25 with 25-mile-an-hour wind. So it felt like it was cold. It was cold. It probably felt like it was below zero with a wind chill. But we were there and we had fun.
Good evening, Mr. Mike. You
But
need
yeah,
to call and schedule some shows with me. He found 2 great locations. And was
he
like,
one
pick which
on
one?
Saturday, one on Sunday.
Oh, they're within a mile of each other.
Well, heck, you could walk your equipment that far. Well, maybe not.
We'll take either one.
Definitely one on Saturday, one on Sunday.
Good evening, sweetie.
Get the lady hooked up in here, guys. Melissa will run your shows.
Who
How
do
are
we
we
have
going?
doing Ruckus this year? Wes?
I would love to get down to Ruckus. That would be a fun show to do.
Let's see. I'm
Speaking
pretty
of that, I
sure
gotta get
we
to a
have
couple
a
other
judge
shows.
going to Ruckus, just don't know which one.
I was gonna say I thought Greg was going, but yeah.
Maybe Greg.
Well, Mike, how you doing? But yeah, Greg, I thought was going to Ruckus. I thought I saw him mention something about that in his Facebook post earlier this week. So I was gonna say I
And
thought
the one
maybe it
listing
was
for Ruckus doesn't have a photo of the judge on it. Yay. Maybe it's Greg.
that could be anyone except
Yeah,
me.
it could be a whole bunch of judges going for that matter. Because Ruckus is kind of one that'll pull in everybody. It's a great show. Good evening, sir. All right, y'all keep picking. I'm going to remember this. All right, does anybody have a question about booking a show? Because I think we make it as simple as can possibly be. If you can get me out of the city limits, I will be grateful.
if you can book me something in a fairgrounds or a county park area, not necessarily nature preserve, but county park area, something
And
like that. Racetracks work
please
well.
keep in mind we are not sponsored for every event. We can't afford to pay for locations out of pocket. Not
Yeah.
gonna happen. I'm broke.
If you need $50, I might be able to help you out. If you need $500, sorry, can't help you there.
Okay.
There's a
Most of the times, it does not cost for a base force judge to come out if we are the only org coming.
Mhm.
Other than that, just talk to your judge and they'll figure it out.
That is a great question, David. What does it cost? That is a very great question. Is there still going to be one in Plainfield? Well, let me look
Look it
here,
up.
because now all of a sudden I got to start looking at my list of things again here. Plainfield, like where is Plainfield at? I don't even know the name. So
Yeah, I think he's in Indiana.
Indiana. There is actually one this weekend in Indiana that Brandon is running. He's
There
got
you
something
go.
in at the Ballard Soccer Fields in Marion, Indiana.
Mr. Brandon has that show.
And yeah, that is the Ballard Trunk or Treat at the soccer fields there. It looks
That
like,
is a multi org show.
yeah, I'm clicking on a map. It looks like it is a third of the way from Fort Wayne down toward Indianapolis. So if you made the journey to Slam earlier this year from Fort Wayne, and let's say it's 100 miles, driving 30, 35 miles is all. Now that I know that's not accurate, but that's kind of what the map is showing me on it here as I'm zooming out on everything, kind of getting an idea for it, but without actually having a scale to go by. But yeah, that is
Excellent.
Brandon's show.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. If you need me to go with you, just let me know.
If a judge travels, I'll tip them some cash. Buy me lunch at McDonald's. I'm a cheap date,
Oh
not an
man,
easy date.
I'm a Waffle House person. Take me
If
to
we had,
Waffle House and I am
yes,
good.
if we had a Waffle House up here in Sioux Falls, Waffle House. Otherwise, buy me Who Hot if it's late at night. Otherwise, McDonald's for lunch. $5.25 for a McChicken bundle and a large Dr. Pepper. I'm good for $5 for a lunch.
Well, good morning to you.
Chris Kennedy, if you could arrange that, I'd be down for that. But since you're in Nebraska, I gotta tell you to talk with Mr. and Mrs. Jimmy Pittman because they do Nebraska more so than I do. If we had a huddle house up here, I would do that as well, David. And yes, Eric, you can always order pizza. In fact, Saturday you can order pizza through your credit card while you're somewhere else, and we will gladly drive the 2 miles up to the Pizza Ranch and pick it up.
Brandon's last name is Erickson.
Erickson.
He ain't a hard guy to find at all. Good evening, Adrian. One of my favorite little XBs. He has an amazing little car. There you go.
Bradley, let me message you afterward about some of that ABS that you've got. Because, yes, I am kind of interested in that. And Pizza Ranch, I mean Casey's. No, I mean Pizza Ranch. Casey's has what's the right word? Casey's sucks. I'm sorry, but their pizza's great, but their
I almost
service,
spit my drink, man.
hey, if it's live, we'll believe it, Melissa. We didn't see it snorting out of your nose yet, but Pizza Ranch is better than Casey's lately in my mind. Casey's can't keep their shit stocked, and I'm sorry to say that about them, but they used to be great. But I'm showing up at 10:30 through a Casey's, and if their coolers aren't stocked from the morning rush that it was over with 2.5 hours ago, and they got 5 people just standing around up there, F them. Sorry, not going to promote their stores at all, other than to throw them under the bus.
He's hard not to laugh at sometimes.
And yeah, their pizza is a little on the doughy side. I will be there for certain on Saturday morning in shorts. It's like me and Nick. You ever see Nick not wear shorts? Granted, I don't wear pants all that often when it's below 40 degrees, even 30 degrees. I'll consider putting pants on, but generally it's shorts.
Well, do we have any questions about how to go about booking a show and in what area? Because I know if y'all don't get with Jimmy and Sonia, they'll be booked up before y'all know it. I go to the Waffle House after every show.
See, if there was a Waffle House up here, I would be going there.
And
But
you know what it is? It's because I can't make up my mind what I want to eat. They're like, we'll just go to Waffle House.
Waffle House,
They're everywhere.
it doesn't matter. If I'm going into Waffle House, it would most likely it would be biscuits and gravy. I just there's something about the biscuits and gravy there, and I've
All
said it
right, you
before that
said you
it's
need
good.
another Atlanta show. I'll see your butt this weekend. That's where I'm going to be.
Oh, speaking of KC Waffle House, there's Mr. Pittman himself.
Good evening, sir. You want to jump on with us, talk about how to book a show with you and Mama?
Thank you, Bradley. Yeah, I was gonna say I think the closest Waffle House up here is probably either Kansas City or I think Chicago might actually be about 10 minutes closer to me here in Sioux Falls, but there's nothing up here like that. Perkins or Embers, but nothing remotely close to Waffle House up here. Yeah, Eric, my mom and dad were living in Bristol, Tennessee about 30 years ago. My mom was down there on business. They had moved down there for about a year. Every time I went down there, it was Waffle House. Every single time. It didn't matter. It could have been 3 in the morning, Waffle House was happening. Didn't matter.
All right, it is the 28th, and it is an evening show. Let me figure out the time for you. All right, it's 3 till 9.
Rick, it would be nice if they did start that franchise up here, but surprisingly, Sioux Falls has, oh God, Sioux Falls probably has 500 restaurants for a town that literally is only about 200,000 people. I kid you not. There's 500 restaurants. They're all chains with very few exceptions, but yeah, I would love to get one started up here. And yeah, Timmy, you're correct on that. If there's ever the two orgs together at a show, it seems like an extra 15 people show up that neither one of us were expecting. That always seems to hold true up here. Not a lot of crossover, but it always seems to have more people. Brand entertainment. Well, there is something about seeing some. I can't even say it correctly or politically correctly, but there is something funny about seeing a couple of people walking out at 2 in the morning with 13 teeth between them, and they're arguing about something. My cousins, your cousins, my sister, your sister, whoever.
That's funny.
It's true.
That is so funny.
It's like seeing the people of Walmart on Facebook on their page that way and just kind of looking at them and thinking, God, that looks familiar. And then realizing, oh, that was me.
Hmm. And just so y'all know, get your Base Wars memberships done now. I don't think Billy's going to do what he did last year for everybody.
Yeah, he's not. We had between me and Melissa and Jimmy and the rest of our Base Wars group,
We
Billy
were
put out a
struggling to get everybody together.
Billy put out a message to us and said there is, and I'm going to paraphrase it, there's no way in hell he's looking up everyone's membership numbers. He's not getting
Yeah,
paid enough to do that from us. And quite honestly, if you're doing shows right now, if you don't have your number and you get one in March or even next weekend, call your judge. Tell him you got
that's
the number.
easy.
Get
If
me
if
that
you can't
number.
get the website to work, choose pickup for your membership. It's going to cost the same thing, but it's going to go through on the website.
Yep.
If it's not working at all, just contact one of your judges. Contact Billy. Tell him his website ain't working.
Yep.
We need to know
Contact
things like that.
contact Jimmy down there, Marcus. Jimmy's your guy, or contact me. I've got a form for you to fill out that I've got a link for it. Where is it here? Yeah, I do
Yes,
have the link
and
for
if
both
you
the
don't fill out the link, we can't help you.
yeah.
We need information, and we don't need much. It takes maybe 5 minutes to get this stuff done.
Eric,
But if
I
you plan
remember
on
that.
running all season and going to finals, now is the time.
I will do so for you, Marcus. I have a link that Billy sent me, or a Google page that you've got to fill out to get your membership. If you don't fill out this particular form, you didn't do it right. And Billy will be the first to tell you you don't have a number. I'll be the second because if Billy didn't send it to you, you don't have it. But wow, Base Wars, look at all those Base Wars people. BaseWars.org. There's a link on the top of the website that says shop. You can get t-shirts, you can get stickers. You must, under no circumstances, go without getting, with that same order of stickers and hats and shirts, you must get your membership. If you don't have your membership, you can't do finals. If you don't have your member number, I might charge you more money because now all of a sudden I got to do extra work to find that number for Billy, who's going to be chewing me a new one.
I'm not doing it again this year after how he addressed us after finals. No. If you don't give me your membership number every show now, that's on you.
Yeah, I
Because
might
I'm
start
sitting there at my computer. That is the time to do it, is when you're in the lanes.
yeah, and it's not a hard number to remember either. Melissa's is going to be 12000001 or whatever her number actually is. Mine happens to be 580001.
Mine start with 35s.
So it's going to be the first 2 or 3 numbers of your zip code, a couple zeros and 03 or 01 in my case, or 63 if we ever get that many out of the same zip code from a bigger city.
Yeah, I'm
It's
pretty
an
sure
easy number to remember.
Jimmy's is already going over his hundreds. Mine
Yeah,
ain't nowhere close.
get a label maker and stick it on your amplifier. Put it in your wallet. Put it in your purse.
They
Get a
ain't even
hat
got to do
with it.
that much because I have my phone open to this
Ooh.
during shows. I will pull their number up for them if they just take care of get it now.
And
And yes, your membership number stays the same from year to year.
yep,
If you do not renew it, it's just a dead number in our system till you come back.
yep, Mike, mine has been the same for 4 years. And Eric, yes, I do. I can mail some to you if you're going a little further south this weekend to the middle of nowhere in Missouri. But yeah, Mike, your number will stay the same. If you move from wherever you're at now to up here in South Dakota, your number is still going to be the same as when Billy originally gave it to you. And in 2 more years, if you move again because you're on the run or better, you're a member of the military, thank you. An early thank you to all the veterans out there. If you move because you're military, that number still stays the same with you wherever you move. So 10 years from now, you've moved 8 times, that number's still going to be the same. It will not change.
Mr. Jenkins, you are number 26.
007s.
He made me look that up just to see.
I would have made you look that up too if he said he was 007.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
So mine's easy to remember. I'm number 1. Or sometimes people tell me I'm, well, you know, I normally tell them they're number 11 because I give it to them twice.
For y'all that don't know, this is another judge for another org sitting here picking on us. Love you too.
I think I might be able to throw in a couple bucks for you for a purse. You got a specific color? Do you like sequins or anything, or beads, or we can figure something out. There you go.
I absolutely adore him. I am so glad he is now a judge.
Thomas, part of the 01 club, just like me. That is awesome.
Wow, that is awesome. First one in his area.
Not that cold up here. I mean, it's going to be 23 on Saturday for the low and 34 for the high. It's good snow weather. I'm kind of hoping that it does actually snow during the show because I'll broadcast that.
No. If it snows, that might be the only way for me to shut a show down. I have ran shows with tornadoes within a couple miles of me. But if it starts snowing, we're going home, folks. I can't deal. As a matter of fact, somebody's going to have to take me home.
I hear Rockville's sponsoring that purse, David. Or maybe it was Star. I don't know.
Oh, now,
I shouldn't pick on those two because I've used them in the past. Eric was at the show where my Scar 15 in a prefab, or excuse me, where my Rockville K5 15-inch in a Rockville prefab box did 160 plus as a port score. And yeah, Marcus, you and I are the same way, man. It's got to be a blizzard out for me to not be at a show. Almost a Funky Pup.
no.
Surprisingly, David, I've never seen those. I've never seen them in person.
We run in lanes if it's raining. I don't care. But if it's snowing, no, y'all better talk to Jimmy or Sonia, Dan, one of them northern guys. I can't help y'all.
I will be more than happy to run the lanes in the snow.
My guys wouldn't know how to get to the lanes in the snow. It snows down here maybe once a year. And when I say snow, I mean it like dusts the pavement.
Eric,
but that will shut down my whole state.
Yeah, up here where we get the, literally 30 years ago, 1991, we had a Halloween blizzard up here, and the reason that everyone remembers it is because it was Halloween. North Dakota, the governor literally shut down the state where I was living in central Minnesota at the time as a senior in high school, it took me 4 hours to drive 15 miles to get home. The latest, greatest blizzard that we had that people seem to remember all the time was one that Marcus just mentioned there in 97. That, again, that was more even southern, more south than I was at the time. But that was a huge blizzard. Again, multiple people, unfortunately, died, but they didn't have the right stuff. And it's not like they don't tell us that a blizzard is coming. People tell us all the time, hey, stock up on this, stock up on that. And the best places that you can go to before a blizzard, liquor store and grocery store, because those are the two things you need.
Yeah. They better not shut those interstates down, because I've been begging him to come down here and do a show with me. That is going to be the most fun show of the year.
I got to say the same thing, William. If there's an interstate closing, of which I've got Department of Transportation apps on my phone for like 4 states up here, if anything is shut down near me, I don't go out. It's the only thing that stops me, though, because I'm a little crazy, but I'm not stupid. Although some people would probably disagree with that. Yeah.
That's exactly what I want you to come for.
I don't know if we want to see. I think that twerking might get us shut down if you do that live, William.
I am dying to see him come to a show.
Might scare little kids or something. People with a soft constitution like Marcus. But no, with regards to shows, again, folks, we can't do much in terms of helping you get the show other than to get you some talking points. Make sure the location's good. Make sure there's parking. Bathrooms are a plus. Porta potties work, but if there's brick and mortar bathrooms around, or if it's at an actual show site like a store or fairgrounds or something, that helps. Local food trucks. If you know someone that runs a food truck, great. If one of your competitors runs a food truck, that's even better. If their brother or sister or family runs a food truck, hit them up. It's always worth it to have a little bit of extra advertising for them, and they may do the same for us as well. So a little extra goes a long way.
That's something, another thing they don't realize is all of our events go up on Kicker's website. They go up on Billy, both the Base Wars pages.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting some publicity out here. So if you want a show, give us time to work with it. We need time to share it.
Yep.
Need time to talk to the right people. You do your part, we'll do ours.
I will personally start sharing your show about a month in advance, and I'll do 1 or 2 things a week. And then the week of the show, I'll generally share the show to the local Basehead pages, North and South Dakota Baseheads, Minnesota, Iowa, 402 page. I'll start sharing those the week of the show, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And
I've got shows in April that I'm already sharing.
God, I will spam the hell out of them. And the only reason I don't do it more frequently than that is all of a sudden, if I go to the page, I'm the only thing that's posted there for the last 2 or 3 months, because they're honestly, there's not that much activity on some of the pages anymore, which is really sad considering how many other things are happening out there in the Basehead community. New products, better products, bigger products, heavier SDDN products that weigh 180 pounds.
No. Huh.
It's like lifting 4 Melissas up into your car.
And the sad thing is I would try it just to get one in my car.
You and me both.
Those DCs like to squish me, but man, I was going for it. Didn't care. Want them in.
I
It's
would do the same
amazing
thing
what
if I
I
could.
can lift if it's new subs. But like taking out the garbage, no, that's too
Mhm.
heavy.
Yep, and you got it right there, William. If, as competitors, and us judges as well, as former competitors, or even those of us that still do compete, we got to know what we're looking for with it. So if you've got an
Mhm.
area that you think might be good, you know, talk to your judge about it. And hey, we had a show up there 4 years ago. It was a good spot. We had a show up there 4 years ago, and the people in town hated us. So, kind of maybe find something else. You know,
Ooh,
find a couple of
nice.
locations, find a couple of dates, because my dates right now for 2024 are wide open. I don't have anything scheduled
Exactly.
yet, technically, but I know of 3 shows that will be happening.
I have got some shows that, yeah, I'm ready for them. They booked a year in advance. And that's how I like to do my schedule. I want the first half of the year booked. And if we got empty weekends, those are pop up show weekends. Because, some of us don't like being home on the weekend. We like going out and hearing the bass heads.
Some of us like sitting in a parking lot on Friday nights and just finding out who thinks they're loud in town and saying, "Hey, you really want to find out how loud that is? Come down to my show in Yankton this weekend, or come over to my show in, where did I say that Brandon's show was at? Damn it, I have already forgotten the town. Ballard
Yes.
in Marion, Indiana, or better yet, go to Melissa's little show that she's got coming up this weekend, the exclusive Car Club Spooky Lights show.
That's
It's a
in Atlanta.
nighttime
It will
show.
be a little
How
show.
often how often do we get a nighttime show for base work? Okay, UAF, but how often does another judge do a nighttime show? I expect
I
about 10
have
to
made it
15 people doing the
happen
lit.
twice in 2 years.
I
It's
expect people
hard
to
to
be
book a
doing lit
nighttime
at
show.
that show, Melissa. You got to have lit.
If they want to run it, we'll do it. We do whatever they want to do. And bonus points this weekend if somebody brings a pumpkin to burp.
Hmm.
Have you seen those contests? If somebody does that and burps a pumpkin in front of me, y'all get bonus points. I'm dying to see it.
UAF counts.
Oh, yeah. I love UAF at night.
UAF shows are, oh, well, I was going to say, I thought he had one last year that wasn't that night, but generally those are all nighttime shows, if I'm not
First
mistaken.
Friday night of the month,
Yep. I
every
was going to
month.
say first or second Friday of the month.
It's always the first.
Hey, Jason. Talking show locations tonight, Jason. What do you think of some of the bigger locations that we've had down in the KC area down there by you? Give me some good locations down there, other than the baseball diamond one that Denny did and Argosy Casino, where Jimmy and Sonia had finals about 3 years ago.
Good evening, sir.
Hey, Justin, what's going on? Justin did my last show up here 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, something like that, just right before finals. Had a nice little show in Huron, South Dakota. I drove through the bustling town of Mitchell with the world's only corn palace. I always like saying that.
You
Those
made
kind
me
of
look
things.
that stuff up.
I did make
That
you look
is
that
an
up.
interesting place.
It is. I've never been inside it, but it's it is an interesting place regardless. At the casino was a good show. I remember that remember Jimmy and Sonia ran out of gas. Dale and I went to get gas. I ended up getting second place.
Oh, did I just hear that?
Yeah, you heard me say second. As I'm
Ain't
looking at my
nothing wrong with
trophy
second. There's
with my
always
name spelled wrong.
louder out there.
And Billy was even there too, and he didn't tell me. Actually, Billy showed up on, I think he was actually there late Saturday night. And I ended up talking with him on Sunday morning about it and telling him, hey, I need to get in with you guys. And boom, like peas in a pod. We had ideas floating back and forth on a lot of things. It was a good time.
Good evening, sir.
Day.
That's
But
one
yeah.
of my favorite builds. Just popped up in here with us tonight.
Oh. There, John. Yeah, nighttime shows are always kind of interesting. Especially on a Friday night or Saturday night. It's not always what you think it's gonna be. Some people, they still work that second or third shift. And if they're getting off third shift on Friday night into Saturday morning, they'll just drive directly to a show. So you might get some different people at a nighttime show, which is always and also something to consider. You get a weird judge like myself. If you want to have a show at 2 a.m, I'll do a show for you at 2 a.m.
If you can find me a location, I'd prefer to do nighttime shows. Yes, I saw your new build. Oh,
No, I'm gonna have
man.
to search John's name.
Everything about his build is perfect. Like perfection. Are you close?
Aerial and Video Center. I like the pictures of it. Oh, that's a really nice looking install. I'm looking at the wall with the four subs on it and the stripper pole at the angle.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing it because he just put a DSP in it and it's supposed to be cleaner than it already was. So
Nice.
It was already sounding amazing.
Always a good thing if you can get a SQ sound out of it as well. That's something that we don't really talk about too much. Jimmy got, or not Jimmy, but Billy had some ideas a couple of years back about some SQ stuff, and we all of a sudden started growing. And I don't mean, grow. I mean, we went from here to way up there all of a sudden. And unfortunately, I think the SQ portion has taken a back seat, which a little disappointing. But
I'm kind of glad it has because I think honestly we've got one judge that knows how to judge SQ.
I would say that as well, and unfortunately, Richard is way out in California.
Yes, sir, he is.
Although I will be going out to, well, actually, I'll be going to Seattle, Tacoma in a couple of weeks, but still a little too far north for him, unfortunately.
I don't think I would be a good SQ judge because I like heavy bass.
I would not.
They're never going to get that right for me.
It is honestly, it is too subjective, and I've already said to other people that it's a whole different beast of an animal. And if you're going to play some Rush or ZZ Top or Chicago, that's my kind of music. If you're going to play Lil Kim or Justin Bieber or Metallica or Def Leppard, I'll listen to it, but it's not going to be there for SQ. I like them all, but I can't do them for SQ. It's got to be something that I am very, very familiar with.
I have had very few builds make the hair stand up on my arms in an SQ build. That's how I know it's right. Therefore, I'm going to judge heavy. They're not going to like me. I don't need to judge SQ.
There are certain ways to do it. I remember many years ago, I was reading an article in, I don't remember if it was CSR or that's a good song actually right there, Chris. Abracadabra from the Steve Miller Band. That is a great song for SQ because there are some effects that shift their sound quite a bit in them. But I remember one article, and again, this is 30 years ago in either Car Audio and Electronics or Car Stereo Review. They were talking about how someone in the car was doing the rear fill versus front stage aspect, and they gave them the fish ears. And they were like, okay, yep, I can hear. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, yeah, I do hear some rear fill. Let's give them 5 points. And that's how they did it. And one judge just kind of looked at him and said, wow, that's not rear fill, that's direct rear sound. And the judge just kind of ripped into these two guys in front of them and got written up. And it was a great article about how not to judge sound quality. And it was very true and still holds true in my mind anyway.
And yeah, in the 90s, it was whole car be judged.
Yep.
Like down to the security screws.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't want to get into all that.
When Bill had Bill had God, Tommy Aldridge, not Tommy Aldridge, that's a drummer. Way too much music in my memory. Gary Biggs and guy with the Forerunner, and I can't remember who the other judge was, on Kicker Live about 3 months ago. They were talking about a car that sounds good from both front seats, and to be properly imaged, to have proper tonality, to have all of that in one setup is very, very difficult. And while I will bow to their years of having SQ cars, I've never heard a better car than Harry Kimura's Acura, and that was 30 years ago now. There's never been anything else like it. And yes, I have heard Richard Clark's Grand National at the same show. I've heard Chris Lewis's car. I've heard Earl Wills. I've heard a lot of these other cars when I was young, and damn, most of them, the tonality was perfect in them. You could watch someone with their guitar solo walk across the stage in the front of their car, and it wasn't down on the dash. It was at eye level. There were no speakers at eye level, but everything that they did was right here in front of you. It was the perfect image, the perfect sound. It was fantastic.
Yeah. We think our stuff's expensive. Wait until you try doing SQ.
SQ is it's a dying beast, unfortunately. People are more concerned with an actual number rather than something that is subjective.
Well, here's the thing. We can play it loud and still make it sound good.
Yes.
That's an art form in itself. Because once you got so much bass, you got to bring the mids and the highs up.
True. Very true. And depending on what you're talking about as well, yeah, Metallica's one is pretty decent. Who was it that said Tool? Yeah, Will. When you said Tool has some good bass, yep, it's got good bass. But it's not always just the bass or one song. It's got to sound good for
not happening. Well,
10 or 15 songs.
Never mind, it has happened. I can't even lie and say it hadn't.
$5,000 on the install, yeah. $5,000 on the product, added on, yeah. $5,000 on the tuning, yeah. You can get one or the other, or maybe two out of the three. But if you don't understand the tuning and you don't understand the extras that have to go into it,
they spend as many hours tuning as we spend testing on that meter. That's true respect.
I know people that will easily say 20% of your budget has to go toward tuning and the knowledge that went into the install on your system. If you give a shop 20 grand to put in an SQ system in your car, and if 2 or 3 grand isn't there for the tuning of it, you're just wasting your money, because anybody can put in a couple pairs of separates and a DSP and some high powered amps and other things. And yeah,
Yeah.
that too, Thomas. When you go to finals anywhere and you're separating now like we are with not only tenths but hundredths of a dB. We had 4 or 5 people in finals this year that first, second, and third were within a dB, and most of them either first and second, or second and third, or even all three. It was, and I'm just going to pick a number: 150.86, 150.81, and 150.53. They were within 3 or 4 tenths for the top 3 or 4 people. And yeah, it's going to happen that people aren't going to like it, but
See, that's why I like doing what we do.
Yep.
They can't argue with that Term Lab. Term Lab is the industry standard.
Term Lab is what everybody uses, but when you're talking,
I can't argue with that.
Yeah, where you're talking,
it's either there or it's not.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's why I don't mind being a judge on this side. There's science behind it. Okay, it's a definite answer. But man, yeah, Audio Frogs. Yeah, I looked into that Audio Frog system where it tunes it for you. Oh my God, that was scary to see how much that thing cost.
I don't ever want anything to tune it for me. I don't trust a computer to tell me what my ears like or dislike. And I'll let it sit right there as that statement. Nobody's going to tell me what it should sound like. If I don't like it, I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
The only person that can tell me what it should sound like is going to be the producer of that particular recording, because he or she sat there while the musicians did it, and they were perfectly centered in the room, in the studio. Nothing between them and the speakers. This is what they wanted. And if I can hear that exactly, then it's done.
Okay.
Otherwise,
we've gotten way off topic. We're discussing SQ. We will be making some people proud, but who's got some new subs? Let's get back to those.
Do I have a new sub?
Something loud.
I don't have new subs yet. I got new glass coming on Monday for my car, I think. Monday or Tuesday.
You're actually gonna get the car out? Yeah, you've got new subs coming.
I'm tempted to
get them somewhere.
Depending on what the weather actually is on Saturday. Oh shit, I'm not gonna have my sub. No, I'm going to have to take my truck. I'm not going to have my sub, and I'm not going to have my box. I'm not going to have an amp in. I'm not going to have my caps in. My car is still basically naked right now. Don't wait till spring. Buy it now.
Whoa. I didn't think that brand would be one he would pick. Impressive.
Buy it now.
Some really good stuff lately. I'd like to see a big build done with it.
Buy your SoundCube now, Chris. Don't wait till spring.
Yeah, especially now that we got Black Friday coming up.
Black Friday coming up in 3 weeks. Wait, 4 weeks, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I gotta look now. 1, 2, 3.
Yes. Sundown's already ready for it.
Weeks. Yeah. Oh, Sundown's not ready for it. They only made 100 of those subs. I got 24 of them coming.
Oh,
God. See how fast that rumor gets out there. Whenever you're ready, Eric, you bring your car up here and I'll tune it for you. I'll get you an extra 2 dB.
All right.
No, actually,
Anybody needs equipment?
might be the
There's
box.
some for sale.
Yeah, throw that out on the Base Wars buy sell page. There is actually, let me
Yes.
plug that really quick. There is a Base Wars buy sell page as well, folks. It's not just the two main Base Wars pages that we have with events and the regular topics. There is another Base Wars buy sell page. I don't have a link for it readily available though, because I very rarely look at it.
I haven't looked at it in a while.
Oh, Rock, I forgot you were coming down this Saturday. I forgot about that party. David, you could have got top 2 in there if you just would have shown up for it. Because Jason was the only one that took a spot in it this year.
Mm-hmm.
Which tells me that either nobody was really all that loud and drunk, which is true, or that Jason was just a bully and scared everyone away, which is also true. I mean, have you seen the picture?
True, because if you hear he's running in a class, you might as well just run in something else. Or at least that would be my thoughts in it. I'd be like, I think I'll run a music class today.
It's like you get big name out there, like Hank was on here on Friday night or Monday night rather. You get Hank out there and you see Hank at a show. No, I'm not competing in that class today, guys. I'm going to do the something else. Or if you see Carlos showing up, or Dante, or someone else.
Oh, actually, I would run and still do my regular little number and not think twice about, 5th, 6th. I wouldn't care.
Kingpin Jason. I guarantee you he's already copyrighted and trademarked that and now has it on his Facebook profile.
I think we need decals. I think we need some decals out of that.
Actually, I don't think, was Jason the only one that soloed his class at finals this year?
Sniper did the same.
Oh, that's right. Your sniper guy did the same. That's right.
And Wizard did the same.
That right. Was it. Thank you for reminding me about that. I got to remember to enter sniper class on Saturday. Jamie didn't solo any classes this year.
No, Jamie's loud though.
Jamie should be able to hook us up with some locations. All right, David, we'll get you one million.
Trademark the Kingpin
every time we say it.
Yeah, go ahead, sue me. I'm gonna have that decal before y'all know it.
People should fear the Hulk. That vehicle is vicious.
They were talking about Jamie running the lanes. This year, I believe he ran with the engine off.
A couple of times he did.
Battery power. Good Lord.
Oh, Jamie's got more than enough battery power in his in the Hulk.
And while we're at this, I would like for somebody to come on and perform a drop-in for us. We need somebody to go start to finish doing a full recon. That way our people can see this. Just a little bit of education. Share with us just a little bit because we're all going through subs. Help us save some money. Show us how to do some recones. Somebody get with me this week because we would like to have y'all on next week.
David, at the one show that I covered for Jimmy 2 years ago, I think it might have been it was a weekend of something else. It might have been, no, it wasn't Slam weekend, but it was something in summer. He had something else planned, or he had another show that I was covering for him in Kansas City. It was the KC Showdown show that I covered with Danny Eddy. Nick, who is Jamie's brother-in-law, if I'm remembering the relationship correctly here, Nick Brewer, quietest Civic I'd ever heard that day. And he did like a 158 or something like that. Quietest Civic of the day. And I like to tease him about it just once in a while. But Nick has some great stuff in his repertoire for competitions in the past and shows that he's been to. He's loud, but he was the quietest Civic of the day. He was also the only Civic of the day. It helps that I put it in those little caveats at the end.
Okay. Well, we've went over how to book shows for this season.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
went over memberships. We've
Or
went
just
over.
a membership.
Somebody needs to get with me before next Wednesday because somebody's doing a recon on the show live
Yep.
next Wednesday. Get me in touch with somebody really good. I want somebody with years of experience. I want somebody who knows how to do it right. Because there's a million ways to do things. But I want somebody who wants to do it right.
All of our classes are for daily drivers, Chris.
Yeah, we've pulled the extremes to the pro classes. So you might want to look at what we've got coming up because we gave the pro classes a lot more places to play.
Yep. The pros get 3 or 6 places essentially, plus they get, is it GOAT or is it Legend? Whichever one is the unlimited everything. GOAT or Legendary, I don't remember.
GOAT. But we've got a lot of new classes for people to play in now.
Eric, I'll blow something on Saturday and you can retool it for me on Wednesday night.
But it is silent. It ain't even got no subs in it right now. Damn, sucks to be quiet.
Still be louder than the other 2 fusions that I know of that are being built for a show this weekend. Or that day you would probably beat them. Well, maybe not. One of them you
My
probably
guys
will.
stressed me out doing this. They will all send me photos of their vehicles gutted, like days before shows. And I'm like, oh, great. Now I can stress with you for the next 3 days. Thanks. Y'all got to quit doing that to me and just leave these builds in there. Good Lord.
It's more fun when you can do that sometimes because there are ways that way to, one, either impress someone or scare the hell out of them and say, hey, this is what's actually going to happen.
The second.
There you go. There's your picture. That's not even mine, but it's the same color. Go with DTX. Go with Directronics. Dan and Dan are good. Kayla runs the place. I will never say it any other way. Kayla makes sure that they behave.
I don't even want to know what he is up to because I've got a set of subs here to take to the recon guy for him.
Mm.
And now it sounds like he's ordering another set.
Always helps to have a spare.
He's got a set of spares.
That's why I have 8 of the same amplifier, and I generally only use 1.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be able to bump up the power if I need to really quick. And if that doesn't work, well, then I'll really bump up the power. And then when that finally does, then I'll just double it. So.
All right. I do understand that because his recons that he has going in, those are just a burp sub. There will be no music played to them.
See, that I can't do. Even though my car, my little Festiva right behind me here, something similar to that, even though it's built for a burp, I still got to listen to music on the way to shows.
Oh, well, he's going to be changing subs in and out.
It's impossible for me not to. I enjoy the drive. I enjoy driving during the week for my job as well. 1,650 miles last week in 4 days. And I've done about 1,300 so far this week already. But I've got to have music when I drive. I can't understand just a one note fart box, essentially, which is what mine is built for. But I can't totally 100% get behind them. I still got to have music.
I don't know. I tend to lean one way or another, depending on what I'm thinking at the time. I ended up with my car too far on the demo side, and it fell on its face on the meter. So I went back, went to the SPL side. Now I can't demo. There's a fine line there, and it's a hard one to find.
There always is. Yeah, like I
Definitely.
said, Directronics, man, and
You can't
Nick
beat
and
their recones.
good friends together, good friends of mine. When they get their heads together on those two cars, if it works in one, they do it to the other. If it doesn't work, then they pull it out, and it helps to have someone in the area that knows your car. And if you got two competitors that are good friends that don't necessarily compete in the same class, and something works in their car, hey, maybe it'll work in mine. That's why you have 5 different Honda Civics sitting in your driveway.
Oh God, they're all XBs at my house, but we ain't
Or-
gonna discuss that. But if somebody wants to come help me next week, I would be grateful because I want to start a project next week and I need some help. Like I need to move big ass box. Y'all don't want to see me squished up under it. Come help. Need just a little bit of help.
Look like
Okay.
Coyote Roadrunner with you being a coyote with your
Maybe
legs.
I need a box move that needs 4 grown men, and I don't need the help at all. That's probably what's up.
Would not be good to see a squished Melissa out there. So if you're in Melissa's area, guys, get over there and help her out.
Yep, I need some help next week.
Yeah,
His was
that
doing
is very
really
true.
good on the meter last time.
With or without 300? Without, hopefully.
Without to start with. Just need a little bit of help. Come by, I'll buy a beer.
I'm not
Even though
buying
I
beer.
don't drink.
No beer. Diet
Look at
Dr.
you
Pepper.
with your ACDC shirt
I do.
on. You've been sitting there all night with it, and I didn't even notice it.
One Diet Mountain Dew, second best pop out there. Eric, yours is fairly balanced. For a 160, now a new, freshly done 160 build.
Awesome.
Yeah, he did his first 160 at finals, actually, which was really nice. And those
Boy,
3
I'll
hairs.
drive down to Chicago to help me load a box in and then drive back.
Yeah, the 3 hairs on the top of Eric's head were standing up. It was pretty cool to see. Oh, Red's Apple. Good stuff. If you like a fruity flavored beer.
Mm-hmm.
One of the better craft beers or craft style beers out there.
I don't drink beer. Oof. You couldn't force me. All right. Well, we've went over how to get shows done. And honestly, if there's not enough shows in your area, you might need to ask yourself, do you need to be looking for locations to help? Because our judges will go anywhere you ask them to.
Pretty much.
We always have.
And just
We
for
come
that
up
one,
with
I'm going to
something.
change my background one more time.
Yeah. He'll even go up into Canada for y'all.
Where it says Canada 2 miles.
Got you, man.
It is Canada 2 miles. I was closer to Canada than I was to Walhalla. Rocky can attest to that because he lives 30 miles south of there. Yeah, 2 miles away. Couple other people that were in here earlier. Donnie Dumpman knows where this show is at. It's a fun, small show for the car audio, but there is a big parade that probably had 100, 150 different classic cars and trucks and tractors going around it. There's Rocky again. I know enough people will go up there. It's a problem of getting there because it's so far off the beaten path. And that's the problem with all these great little towns. There's 2 or 3 great things about the town. And unfortunately, the one thing that isn't great about them is the location. And unfortunately, Walhalla has that regard to it. It's about 85, 90 miles to Grand Forks and about 70 to Winnipeg.
Yeah, I'm in Alabama and Georgia. Y'all call me for that. I ain't going north.
Come on up for the snow on Saturday.
I ain't built for that.
We'll have fun. My passport is good, David. I'm somewhere wherever it is.
All
From
right.
one of my boxes.
Go over this weekend's show one more time.
All right. Well, this
Where
week
we got them?
Brandon is having a show in Marion, Indiana, and that is midway between Fort Wayne and Indianapolis. Melissa, you're having your show in, is it East Point, Georgia?
East Point, Georgia.
Okay. And that is a nighttime show, guys and gals. Bring all your neon. East Point, Georgia. My particular show is going to be on Saturday as well. All 3 of these shows, by the way, are Saturday. My show is going to be in Yankton, South Dakota. And this was kind of a short notice show, but we've been talking about it for a while. Finally got the okay here on Monday, so I just threw it up. Anyone in North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, anywhere else, Montana, Wyoming, anyone want to come out to Yankton? It's going to be right on the river, Riverside Park. We're having a show there on Saturday. Those are the 3 for this weekend. Got a couple more next weekend, which Melissa and I will talk about next week.
All right. Well, I don't see keeping them any longer tonight because I know everybody gets hungry about this time. So why don't we just go ahead and say good night to everybody and call it a day.
Good night to everybody.
Good night, y'all.
Stopping by.